Hey everybody, it's Beth here. How are you all doing today? I hope you had a wonderful holiday weekend. I did. I had a lot of fun. Um, Although half of my tribe was out of town, so it was quiet here. It was really quiet without the little kids. So I'm happy that everyone is back. So I wanted to take a minute today to discuss power struggles and frustration. Since we didn't get any questions for the July call yet, I started compiling all the issues that are your top issues on that questionnaire that you fill out when you join the group. And I started compiling that. And by far and away, frustration, like the top three are really frustration, yelling, and mom guilt. So I figure I'm just going to talk about power struggles for just a minute and let you all know how I solve the power struggles and how I work with my clients on avoiding power struggles with their kids. So the first thing, and I do teach about this in the Happy Mom Toolkit, and one of the modules is all about the empathic parenting. And also in my Attitude Reboot for Kids, I know some of you, I think, have purchased that. I discuss it there as well. So the first thing that I want you to think about when you're having a power struggle with your child and you're feeling anxious, you're feeling angry, you feel like you want to raise your voice and yell at them. This might sound like tough love for a minute, but this first part, I'm just going to direct just to you as I direct questions like this to myself when I get triggered. What I want you to think about is, what is the perceived benefit that you are getting from that feeling? If the kids are driving you crazy, and if you are so caught up in thinking about that and it happens over and over again, there has to be some perceived benefit on your end, or you wouldn't keep letting yourself fall into that frustration. Now, let me tell you what I mean about that. Like, if I am always in an argument with my spouse, for example, and I always feel that I have to give him extra attention. Now, that takes away from the attention that I can give to my kids, to my business, to other things that I want to do. But maybe I'm afraid to do those other things. Maybe I'm hesitant to do them. So my perceived benefit from putting all my focus on the struggles that I'm having with my spouse is that I don't have to do the other things. It gives me an excuse not to do them. So if you're having a power struggle with your child and you're always frustrated and aggravated with your child, maybe your perceived benefit is that it gives you a good excuse to overeat. It gives you an excuse to emotionally eat. It gives you an excuse to stress drink. And I'm saying that because I've done all of the above until I really got wise to it, and then realized what my sorry, my phone just rang and my whole screen went off. This is okay. There we are. And realized what the benefit that I was getting to. And I was kind of using the situation as a crutch to not address other things that I needed to address. So anyways, that's the tough love part. All right. So just think about what is the benefit that you are getting from it. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want you to think about, if you're always feeling frustrated, you're always in a power struggle with your child, is, have you set those boundaries too tight? If you look in the announcement section here, every Q&A I do, I'll post in the announcement section later. The last one was all about boundaries, about having that safe circle of trust that, depending upon, it can be really broad or it can be more narrow. But when we have power struggles and frustration come up, a lot of times it's because we have set those boundaries too narrow, and our kids are feeling suffocated underneath the burden of those strict boundaries. I had one mom who shared with me last week that, and my husband used to do this all the time when my kids were little, is her children, they went away to visit grandparents for a week, and the kids were perfectly behaved all week long. Then in the car ride on the way home, they got into a little scuffle. And it was like, oh, you ruined everything. You know, the dad was saying, you ruined everything. Now everything's ruined. You don't know how to behave, and you don't know how to discipline the kids right. And it turned into this big power struggle over that one thing. But now when you think about that in the dad's mind, his circle of trust was likely this big when it could have and should have been this big. And that's just something that we learn as parenting. You know, if your parenting style or your parents' parenting style toward you was the boss parenting style, that usually means you've got your default parenting style is that very, very small circle of trust. So your kids are always bumping up against boundaries all the time. And that just leads to frustration on their part and frustration on your part. So examine your circle of trust and see if you have set those limits too tightly. Then the other thing, the third step, is to just bring empathy into the situation just a little bit, both for yourself, because we know it's not always easy being a mom. For sure it's not, but it's really not easy being a kid either when you think back and remember your own childhood. So try to bring a little bit of empathy to the situation and see, is your style of just being different from your child's style? Some children love to dream and love to imagine, and they're like, I think, what movie had Uncle Buck? One of the kids, the teacher called him a lollygagger, or called the little girl a lollygagger, you know, because she was a dreamer. She loved to imagine things. You know, and if you've got a child who's a dreamer and loves to imagine things like that, and so they move more slowly to getting them done, and you are of the type of personality where I've got to do it right now, get it done, get it done, get it done, you're going to lock horns. So bring empathy to the situation, both for yourself and for your child. And then I don't know if I'm on point 3 or point 4 right now, but then the next one is to also bathe the entire situation in love. Even if you are feeling right now your child, your spouse, your parent is not worthy of love, that they're not, that you're mad at them, still find a way to bring love to the situation and think with your heart. And after you've thought empathetically about it, that might be easy to do. Just bring love to the situation, not necessarily going to them and telling them that you love them or anything, but just even in your heart, think about the situation with love. And then finally, bring gratitude to the situation. You know, and when you do these things, when you bring gratitude to a situation, when you bathe your children, yourself, your spouse, your life in love, when you look at the world through someone else's eyes and bring empathy to the situation, when you set your boundaries for your kids just far enough out so that they can lovingly learn life's lessons and actions and consequences within that safe space, but they're not always bumping up against rules. And when you stop and you look and ask yourself, what is in this for me to feel aggravated like this? Those points, and I think there were 5 of them maybe, that's the key to reducing your frustration level, reducing your stress level, which will therefore reduce your child's frustration level, and things will run a lot more smoothly. And the other thing to check out in one of the pinned announcements is for the Happy Mom Toolkit. And that I address a lot of these things in there. And if you decided to enroll in the Happy Mom Toolkit, you will automatically be put in the Happy and Healthy for Life group, where I have 2 live Q&As each month, where you can, right now they're on Facebook, but they may move to a venue where we're all together in a chat room. So you can ask questions live and we can talk back and forth about your specific situation. But check that out, because right now, because I am redoing the program and adding so much more to it, this one, I have drastically reduced the price on it. So it's an investment that everyone can afford. And I know that it can help. It's helped tremendously with the clients who have used it so far. Anyways, that is just in the announcements. The link for it is in the announcement section, the Happy Mom Toolkit. And if I don't see you there, which I hope to, I will still see you back here. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye now.